Hello witches, good afternoon. Welcome to the broadcast. I am High Priestess Autumn Phoenix. Be sure to go ahead and share this broadcast with a witch or two or three that needs to know if they need to join a coven. Hecate has downloaded this broadcast to help witches make that decision. Do you need a coven? So go ahead and press share in your stories or your other social media platforms. Please text, email, call, tell them that there is a high priestess here in New York City who is anointed and appointed by the Queen of Witches to be a voice for witches who have ears to hear and hands to receive Hecate's best. So the title of this broadcast this Sunday is, do you need a coven? First things first, what is a coven? A coven is a group of witches that come together to do witchcraft. Witchcraft is working with the energy found in nature to bring about real, significant, and permanently positive change so that the witch may no longer go through life the hard way or never experience the hardships of life that other people who are not witches do experience. A coven of witches come together to do witchcraft so that every member may have real, significant, and permanently positive change. Permanently meaning just that. No sorrow added on to your life. A coven chooses a high priestess or high priest to lead the coven. That high priest or that high priestess is chosen by that coven's chosen goddess or god. For me, it would be the Queen of Witches, Hecate, that my coven would be worshiping, praising, giving offerings to, listening to, obeying, and having total faith in, with no sorrow added on. And yes, let me just say this, just to put this out here, okay? A coven is not a cult. A coven is not a cult. You can leave a coven at any time and not have any problems that follow you. The coven is not going to punish you because you decided that you did not want to be a member anymore. You can leave a coven at any time. A coven is not a cult. Somebody please write that down either in the comments or in your personal personal journal, notebook. A coven is not a cult. That's one of the biggest misconceptions about covens, that it's a cult where we kill people and animals and drink blood. No, we don't do that. That's stupid. But do you need a coven? Deciding if you need a coven is a personal choice. Is it a spiritual law? Is there a witch law that says you must have a coven, that you are required to be part of a coven? No, there is no spiritual law that says you must have a coven. You can be a witch that works by themselves. The way you decide if you need a coven is if your spells, rituals, hexes, or curses may not be reaching its targets, or you want that real sense of community. A coven is a community. A coven is a tight-knit community. It's a family. A coven, I have always said, is very much like a family that you choose. And let me say this again, I can't say this enough, that you can also choose to walk away from. You know that you need a coven when you may feel lonely. You may not know how to do a type of spell. You need help from more members of the witch community. That's where the coven comes in. You need guidance. You want help. You want to be your best magical self. You don't want to struggle anymore. You don't want to be that type of witch that has to keep doing the same spell over and over again and not getting any results or not getting the results that you want. A coven can help. I have always said that 1, 2 witches or 3 witches together can do more than 1 witch can do alone. You may not need a coven if your spells work without outside help. If you have your own chosen god or goddess or ancestor that you work with, you may not need a coven. You may be okay just by yourself. And if any witch in our community criticizes you and say, oh, well, you are not a witch because you are not part of a coven, just tell them to shut the hell up. You do not need to be in a coven to be a witch. You can work alone. Just tell that person or persons when they say, oh, well, you are not a real witch because you are not part of a coven. Tell them to shut the hell up and tell them that I told you to say that. Tell them that High Priestess Autumn Phoenix told me to tell you to shut the hell up. Because I, in fact, do not need to be in a coven to be a witch. I can work alone. And if any witch says that to you, they themselves are not a witch because they would respect your decision to walk the path of the wise by yourself. I hate people who are not witches who say dumb shit like that. That's stupid. Period. It's stupid. Do you need a coven? You have to choose wisely. When choosing a coven, you must rely on your intuition. You must discern if that coven is really for you or not. Not because you won't be able to leave once you get initiated, but because you don't want to waste time and possibly money. Some covens do charge a membership to be part of the coven to cover the cost of tools and books and items to help that witch be the best magical self they can be. Sometimes you may have to pay a fee because tools are not free. Tools are not cheap. You have to use your intuition before joining a coven. If you're not really feeling that coven, or if your intuition is telling you this is not for you, or you don't need a coven, just listen to it. Just follow it. You are no less of a witch just because you are working alone. Choosing a coven is a personal choice that only you can make. A coven is not a club. It's not a, well, it is kind of a team. It's a team of witches working towards real significant and permanently positive change. But it's not a club. It's not a club. A coven and a club are 2 different things. A club is more like sports, reading, music. A coven is focusing on witchcraft so that every single witch in the coven can have real significant and permanently positive change with no sorrow added on. It's a personal choice on whether or not you should join a coven. You should not have to be threatened or coerced or manipulated to join a coven. You should not be threatened if you want to leave that coven. Or the high priest or the high priestess says, you can't leave. You're stuck here. We need you here. We can't function without you. Yeah, you can leave. That's when it becomes a cult. It becomes a cult and no longer a coven when that so-called high priest or high priestess says you cannot leave, or they threaten to hurt you or your family or your friends if you do leave. That's a cult. That is not a coven. That is not a high priest or a high priestess that was anointed and appointed by the coven's chosen god or goddess. That's a manipulator. That's a narcissist. That's a psychopath. It's not a high priest or a high priestess. It's not. It's not. And don't feel bad about it. Don't feel bad if you have to leave that coven, because you're not growing. A lot of witches leave covens because they are not growing magically in their craft. If your spells are not working, or maybe they have stopped working entirely when you've been in that coven, then that's your sign that coven is not for you. If you find that you get more results working alone, then you are a solitary witch. You are meant to work alone. Not everybody is meant to be in a coven. A coven is not for everybody. It's not. If you know you can't get along with other people, if you know that you are argumentative, you like to start fights, you like to start shit, you like to stir up shit, then a coven is not for you. It's not. You are in a coven to learn how to be your best magical self. Everybody has to work together. Everybody in the coven has everybody else's back. You scratch my back, I scratch your back. You wash my hand, I wash your hand. We look out for each other in the coven. We look out for each other in the coven. If someone was to betray the coven, meaning telling the secrets or sharing information about the coven or filming inside the coven without the permission of the high priest or high priestess, that is grounds to be expelled from the coven. You won't be expelled from being a witch, but you will be kicked out of the coven. There are many things that you can do to get kicked out of a coven. Lying, stealing, talking about what happens in the coven, videotaping in the coven with no permission from the high priest or the high priestess. Those are some things that can get you kicked out. And yes, word does travel. That high priest or high priestess will tell other covens about you. Oh, don't let him or her in there. They just came from my coven. They just betrayed my coven. Don't let them in. And if you are not meant to be a solitary witch, and you are meant to be with a coven, it's going to be damn hard to find a coven to accept you once you have betrayed the coven that you were previously in. It is hard to just be a solitary witch with no backing. With no backing of a god or goddess or ancestor or high priestess or high priest, because you betrayed your coven. Betrayal is not an accident. No witch accidentally betrays their coven. They know exactly what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing. Do you need a coven? That is a question that only you can answer. You know deep down inside if you are meant to be a solitary witch or part of a coven. Whichever one you choose is fine. You are a witch if you do a spell and your spell works. That's a witch. A witch is someone who does witchcraft. Witchcraft is working with the energy found in nature to bring about real, significant, and permanently positive change. What happens to other people in the world does not happen to you. The rest of the world may be right now in total and complete chaos, but that chaos will not touch you. It will not come near you. It will be sent back to the original source because you are a witch and because you know how to counteract it. if they were witches, they would not have all the problems that they do. So it's entirely on them. But because you are a witch, you don't have all these problems that they do. It's not your fault. It's not your fault that as a witch, you are a powerhouse. You are. If you are a witch watching this broadcast, you are by nature a powerhouse, a powerful man or woman. And yes, let me say this. Men can also be witches. The craft of the wise has always been open to both genders. Yes, a man can be a witch. Some people don't like when I say that, but it's still true. Yes, a man can be a witch. Be mad if you want to, but it's still the truth. A man absolutely can be a witch. The craft has always been open to both genders. The question of, do you need a coven, is answered by you. What do you want to get out of your life as a witch? Do you need community? Or are you okay being a solitary witch? Are you okay being alone? Or do you really need that tight-knit community of witches known as a coven? That's the question that you have to answer. And please don't forget, you can absolutely leave at any time. You are not being held hostage by the high priest or the high priestess. You can leave at any time. And if they are a real high priestess or a real high priest, they will never hold it against you, because maybe, just maybe, your time in that coven is over. And now you are ready to walk the path of the wise by yourself. So that's the question. Do you need a coven? That has to be answered by you. Only you. Please listen to your intuition. Listen to your chosen God or goddess or ancestor or Hecate, the queen of witches, for an answer. Only you can answer that question. Do you need a coven? So thank you, witches, for joining me this afternoon for this broadcast. Like I said, please share this broadcast, because that's how I get onto the Explore page and reach more witches, and I can help more witches be their best magical help. Be their best magical self. Magical self. Be their best magical self. Thank you, witches, and I will speak to you, witches, next time. Bye, everyone.